Okay, we are recording. Welcome everybody to our August 26th So What Zoomcast. Hi Beth. Everybody's waving. How are you? Siobhan, Rhodey. Yay! Welcome, welcome. Deb's on her way down to Cape May to celebrate her wedding anniversary. So today we got Stevie Graves is our co-host, and she will be monitoring the chat for us. We are recording the whole broadcast, so keep your clothes on. Unless you have a guy, maybe we'd like to see him. Maybe. Our Zumba classes are still waiting for the secret stalker to come into our class and take his clothes off. We haven't gotten lucky yet. If you would like to send me, Stevie, or our guest a question, please use the chat feature. And if Susan doesn't see it, we will relay it to her.
Thank you.
And we will post the recording on our So What YouTube channel. I do that on Friday mornings. And Stevie's going to give me a door prize. If you get a door prize, you're going to put your email in the chat. Try to pay attention whose door prize you get so we make sure that you get the right thing. Okay. Our Zoomcast is sponsored in part by Fox Chapel Publishing, Banyan Boutiques by Northcott, and QuiltWoman.com. And depending on which broadcast you're on, depends on the door prizes that they're donating. So, Stevie.
Yes.
What's in your glass?
Blue Moon.
Okay, this is what happens when it's something that we will drink. You get a ding dong, and you'll get your door prize. If it's something we won't drink, you will get. Okay, so if you're spotlighted, we want to know what's in your glass. Okay, sometimes the old ladies run out and they go get something. So you just never know. So without further ado, now that we're rocking and rolling. Oh, I forgot my glass. In my glass today, I have a Malibu Bay Breeze, which is Malibu rum, some pineapple juice, and some cranberry juice, just to make it colored so when my husband comes home, he doesn't see me drinking Malibu rum. So where's our Susan? Hi, Susan.
Hi.
You're coming to us from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
You have a glass.
I have a glass. I do. It's right here.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a whipped mule.
Whipped mule. What's in that?
It's Pinnacle Whipped.
That. Your background is distorted.
That's what we do on weekends.
Oh.
That's my husband's race car.
Nice. You might need to turn off your background because it's distorting.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Hang on.
Yeah, your mule disappeared.
My mule disappeared.
It was like it went
doesn't
into
make
a
a lot
black
of noise.
hole.
Let's see here. That's because it's white, so it's going to do that. Let's see how we can do this. Where does that go?
So since
anyway,
you have a mule.
I have a mule. It's Pinnacle Whipped vodka and ginger beer.
Okay. What do you think, everybody? I'm thinking that's a ding dong. Okay. You probably didn't get my email. I found these pictures.
I got it. You want to see them?
All right. This is when I met Susan. She's a genome educator, and that means when you go to the quilt shows, she's one of the girls that you'll find in the classroom who gives you some instructions on the machines. Okay, and she'll guide you to the right machine. And if they stay in the classroom, her and her team, they stay in the classroom and they help you with any issues that you have. So I got them. I can share the screen.
Okay, you got it? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So now when I met Susan, I think this might have been the first time. Can you guys see that? Okay. When the educators get bored in class, they dress up the teachers. And this is my garbage can couture that they made for me. And it was so good. I gotta come down. It was so good, I got a proposal. How could you resist that outfit? And do you remember what you did on some of the things? I know I was a walking advertisement for Genome.
Oh, that was Grand Rapids. Actually, that would have been, that show would have been like last week. Unfortunately, this year was canceled. But yeah, we had what, 4 classrooms that year? And I was with you the first 2 or 3 days. Then you went up and I think spent the day with Amy and then came back to my classroom at the end and you walked in this bubble wrap.
Yeah. So this is what you always got to make sure that your educators are kept busy. So
Yeah,
that
or not.
so that
Thankfully.
they're not making the teachers some couture stuff. And poor Billy Schrader, when I walked down, he says, "You're not walking in here like that, are you?" And I said, "Yeah, I got to go over to the booth there." John Ryan's all excited. Not over.
That was a fun week. That was a fun week.
That was a fun week.
Unfortunately, they don't have me up in the classroom anymore. I'm down in the booth, but it is what it is.
So she's who you're going to see when you want to go buy your new Genome machine.
Yeah, come in. We have a good time. We play.
So what else do you do?
What else do I do besides race on weekends?
Yeah.
Which we're not doing this year either for the same reason. I've been doing a lot of quilting on my long arm this year, designing some patterns and so forth, and I've been doing some YouTubes.
Okay, and you're going to talk to us today about sewing machine needles because that's really important. That makes a difference.
It does. It's a big difference, and it's the first. If you have any kind of an issue, the first thing you're going to ever do is just rethread the machine and change your needle. 99.9% of the time, that will correct any error you might have. And it's usually just a setup issue, not a machine issue. So that's one misnomer. A lot of people get scared. Oh my gosh, I've spent all this money on this machine and it doesn't work. It does work. Try changing your needle and just rethreading the machine.
Now, there's numbers on needles. Like
Yeah.
9014 and 100.
Right.
And
you have the 14 would be the American and the 90 would be the European. It's actually a metric number. 90 would be 9/10 of 1 millimeter. So I know nobody can imagine a millimeter, but if you take a 100 needle, that's 1 millimeter. So we're used to using a standard size 80. I use mostly a 75, same difference. So that would be a 0.8 millimeters in width. And it relates to your thread size because when you're doing, you want to make sure your thread fits your needle. Everybody knows about the groove that goes down the center front shaft. Everybody?
You're going to tell us.
I'm going to show them. I have a wonderful needle and I got to turn off my background. Hold on. I got to find out where that is because you can't see what I'm going to show you. Hang on. We're going to get you going. If I can see where this is.
Try clicking the arrow next to start video.
To start video?
Start video, end video.
Yeah, it's On the left-hand side where it says,
Yeah. Okay.
stop video.
Choose visual background. All right. I can just cancel that out then?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's add an image. I just want regular video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she's doing that. I'm getting squared away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you about our September guests because we have the September lineup ready. Next week we have Carol with an E, Lyle Shaw, and she's gonna talk to us about modern quilting. We have Lori Baker. She is the big deal at Gold Peak Media, and I'll introduce you to everybody at the end. She's the big deal at Gold Peak Media. And she reviews and decides on the different quilts that go in your magazine. She's going to talk to us about that. We have Patience Griffin's coming in with Kilts and Quilts. She'll be coming in. And I know we got some like awesome door prizes for Patience. We have Michelle Crawford coming in, and I'll highlight you later. She's going to talk about crumb quilting, and Krista Moser, who's going to talk to us about all the different battings. You ready, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay. Show us that needle.
Okay. How you like that needle? Great big needle. What this is, it's basically a demonstration, doesn't fit any machine. Let's make that clear. Believe it or not, I might get a question that way. But this long shaft that goes right down the center front of the needle, okay, that's where your thread's going to fit. Now, believe it or not, I have thread that fits. It's called clothesline. And you want your thread to lay right in that groove, just like that. If it's too large, it's going to roll out. All right, and what happens is that's not going to meet up with your hook on the bottom side of your fabric, and you're going to end up with skip stitches. If I can thread this eye, gee, I can see that one. How about that? Even without my glasses. Okay, I actually have a brief demonstration. And the foam, can you see the foam? Here, I'll back up. There we go. The foam is my fabric. So I'm going to poke the needle right through, and you can see as I pull up, you see that loop? That's where the hook is going to catch your needle thread and wrap it around the bobbin, so you end up with a lock stitch on the back side. Now, if your thread is too large, it's not going to go through the hole, it's going to skip, it's going to bubble. So that's one way you know. If it's too small, you're going to end up with large holes in your fabric, and the thread won't cover it up. So you want to make sure you have the right thread for the right needle.
So Amy would like to know, is that groove on all needles, or is it
Yes.
brand specific?
All needles. All needles. And even a brand new needle can be damaged. In fact, I think I was in your class when I was changing needles out in between the breaks, where I ran in. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't threading. I couldn't get the needle threaded. There was no eye in the needle. So needles can come right out of the package damaged. You could have a burr on it. It could have a groove that is not supposed to be there on the inside of the eye that is shredding your thread. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, the needle is your least expensive part of your machine. Throw it away, get a brand new needle, and start over.
And Kim would like to know, when the needle is in the machine, is the groove in the front or the back?
That depends again on the machine you're working on. On your domestic sewing machines, your regular sewing machine, it's going to be in the front. If you're talking about a featherweight, for instance, it's on the side.
Now, going back to those numbers, is there a certain number that goes with a certain thread, or what's?
On average, you're going to use a 50 weight construction thread with either an 80 or 90 machine needle. That would be either, they run at an average of either 12, 14 size needle.
So a good needle for piecing would be
Well,
not what I use.
here's, Linda, everybody's got their favorite. Yours is probably different than mine. I happen to like a 7511. I use a very lightweight thread. I use like a 60 weight thread. So I go to a smaller needle. It just depends upon the thread you'd like to use. I'm not particular to any particular brand. I use Bottom Line from Superior a lot for my piecing, because I like it's a thinner thread, and when I fold my fabric over and open up my seams or whatever, when I'm pressing my seams and so forth that way, I can get my scant 1/4 inch that way.
Okay. Suzanne would like to know, what are the differences between like a universal top stitch and I guess how they, I hope I'm saying this right, Susan. The different names and how they relate to the materials that you're using.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, the different names, like a top stitch needle is going to have a larger eye. Your universal needle is actually a medium ballpoint. Needles come in all kinds of tips. In fact, I've done two YouTubes on needles so far. I'm getting ready to do a third one. I'm going to be calling it Needle Tips specifically for this reason, so that you can see how different shaped points on the needle affect your fabrics. Old rule of thumb, if you go back to ancient times, like I do, on needles, we were told that a ballpoint needle was to be used for elastics. That's not necessarily the case. You're going to use a ballpoint needle. I like to use, you're going to laugh at me, but it works. And that's my theory with sewing. If it's only wrong if it doesn't work. But a ballpoint needle does beautiful on terry cloth because it doesn't break the loops. It goes in between the fibers. It pushes them out of the way. It also works on your spandex and your lycras as well as your elastics. But your t-shirt fabric, if you're planning on working on t-shirts, you want a stretch needle. It actually pokes the hole through between the fibers because it's got a sharper tip to it. It's not a sharp, it's a less acute ballpoint, I guess would be more accurate.
So, wow, they're coming in now.
Good.
What?
I have all kinds of displays out here trying to figure out what I was going to fill the hour with, because I've got setups for twin needles and triple needles and double hem needles and all kinds of fun things.
What is, Michelle would like to know, what is a universal needle as opposed to one that has a number?
Okay, all right. All needles have a number. That's their size. So every universal needle out there will have a number as well as a universal tip. That's what you're talking about. The universal part is the tip of the needle, not the size.
Denise would like to know, do you use bottom weight thread? So I'm thinking that's a 50 or 60, Denise? 50 or
Yeah,
60
it's a
weight
60
thread in both the top, in both the bobbin and the top together.
Yeah, when I'm piecing, I do. Yeah, I like it because it gives me a finer seam. I'm not going to have as much fabric being taken up in the rollover when I open out the seam, you know, when you press right sides apart. And it gives me a flatter surface.
And you press?
When I'm done, I actually, okay, if we're going to go there, no, hang on.
Anybody that's been in my class know where these questions are going.
No, that's okay. No, as I'm working, if I need to open a seam out and make it flat, I'm not going to use my iron. I use a brayer.
That's like
Wallpaper roller.
wallpaper.
Yeah, This one's metal. I also have a wooden one that I travel with. This one's heavy to put in a suitcase. You know, Linda, you want to keep as much weight out of the suitcase as possible. This one's metal, so this one stays at home. But if I'll just roll this across the seam, it's not going to stretch my fabric out of shape. I'm not adding any steam or any heat to it. It just opens the seam so I can continue sewing.
Yeah, what's the purpose of these Microtex needles?
Microtech needles. Okay, well, if we come into the microfibers, for one thing, the Microtex are actually supposed to be, I believe, stronger. If I'm remembering, it lasts a little bit longer, like the titanium needles. I still change my needles on a regular basis. Regular sewing, I'm going to go probably about 8 hours of sewing. If it's embroidery, it may be about 6 hours. Same thing with quilting, because you use more, you stitch more.
Yeah. Sharon would like to know, do you have a tip for Minky?
Oh, Minky. I'll be honest, I've not done a lot with Minky. Things squishes like crazy. Off the top of my head, because of the way it's used and so forth, I might try a ballpoint needle with that. Just because of the way it squiggles.
Wanda would like to know, which needle do you use for quilting on a domestic machine?
Again, it depends upon the thread. If I'm going to use a King Tut, I'll probably go, I like my sharps for quilting. But my King Tut, I'm going to use a larger needle. I'll probably go to a 90. When I do regular quilting, again, I like a finer thread when I quilt, and I use a 75 or an 11.
What about when you're using metallic thread? I like to use the sliver metallic.
Yeah, well,
And
you can get away with a top stitch needle. You can also use one of the metallic needles. They have a larger eye, which allows the thread to go back and forth freely without kinking or breaking. And that's the whole point of the needle.
there's what do they call it? So easy. It's in a little bottle. It's a little bottle of lubricant.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to put that, now this is going back to the 80s. We used to put that on the thread itself to make it go through the machine easier. I would not recommend that today because you have a lot of your electronic machines have electronic tensions, and you wouldn't want that to get into the tension.
Oh, wow. So
Just a
one
thought.
question.
I used to do tech on machines I've managed stores as part of my career at different times. And I was always the tech as well. So I've had service training on a number of different brands, but they're all pretty much the same when it comes to electronics or computers. It's something you would just want to be aware of. You don't want to get anything on the board or into the electronics that way that's liquid of any kind.
Now, before we hit some more questions, I had a question pop into my head.
Oh,
Like,
sorry.
just like how I get all my design ideas in the middle of the night. Oh, Kathy Farrar, what metallic do I use? I use the sliver metallic.
Play with it.
I don't follow the rules, so don't even go there.
No, I never follow a rule. Are you kidding? The first when you're in education with one of the companies, they all seem to, of course, we group together. We sit together at dinners and so forth. We travel together at shows. You'll see at least 2 of us at a show. But when there's a large group, we can get kind of silly, and they're long hours, and that's why. But it's a lot of fun. We have a good time with each other. But one of the things they've developed, like one group I was with, they were writing their own, we never wrote it down, but they were writing their own book about travel rules. And with Janome, the first thing that with their quote unquote rules is there are no rules. So that was an interesting come to on coming into the Janome family. Yeah, but yeah.
I've actually
no rules.
crashed several of your parties.
Oh, yeah. Linda, you're more than welcome to crash our party
As long
anytime.
as Scott's buying, I really don't care. I'll go anywhere. If somebody's buying, I'm going.
Well, John buys when he's around, so.
But going back to the shows. Now, these ladies and gentlemen, they
Sure.
come into the classroom, and you know me or whatever machine company it is so generous in providing the machines for them to use.
Right.
And sometimes I've had some interesting people that tell me that it's the machine's not working when it's really operator error, and they change machines like 3 times in the classroom,
Yeah.
but it's operator error. Do you find, and you may or may not want to answer this, and that's okay.
You're going to put
you
me on the
find-
spot. Okay.
Yeah, that sometimes people take advantage of, my audio's off. Holy,
No, it's not off, but you're way quiet.
oh,
You're away from the microphone.
okay. How about now?
Yeah, you're still in the well.
All right, let me disengage my, I don't know why. All of a sudden.
Because it's 2020.
Yeah, this has got to be the worst year on record, I swear.
Okay, Stevie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but you're still too quiet.
Okay, I'm going to relay this question, and you can relay it to the girls. I might have to text you my other questions. When people take the classes, do you find that they're a little rougher and a little more abusive on the machines, on your
Actually-
machines, than if it was theirs? You might want to
Actually,
repeat that question.
No, what I find is they're scared of them because they're not familiar with them. So it goes the other way. Not that they're rough on the machines, far from it. Well, Shinomi can take a beating and keep on stitching, but the problem I find is they tend to be afraid of the machine more than beating up on it. And because they don't understand that particular model for whatever reason, because they're not familiar with it again, they don't know, and because it's a classroom, they don't always hear what you say and how the setup is supposed to be, and they're distracted because they're having a good time. We want everybody to have a good time. We want you to enjoy the class when you come in.
Okay. Let's go back to man, they're just coming in left and right. So you use a 50 weight thread in the top and bottom to have a finer seam.
60 weight. 60 weight.
Yeah.
Bottom line is 60 weight.
And do you press the seam to the side or open?
It depends upon how I'm going to quilt it. If I'm going to stitch in the ditch, I'm going to press it to the side.
Okay. Michelle would like to know, do you sew over pins?
Gosh, no. In fact, because my background's in garment construction, I used to teach a class that you could put a complete garment together, blouse, jacket, whatever, with no pins. I don't use pins.
I don't use pins either. I don't sew over them. I put mine so that they stay there, and
Yeah.
and you know,
If you're
it
going
looks like you're not.
if you're going to use a pin, you want it back away from the foot, or you want to remove it before you sew over it. You never want to sew over a pin. And I've actually seen the customers do this. You can break a needle, and that piece of needle is going to go flying. We don't want it to get into your eye. That's one of the reasons you don't want to sew over a pin. The other reason is you can scratch your throat plate or the stitch plate. That's the plate that covers your sewing area that has all the lines and everything on it for your seam allowances, that goes directly under your needle and covers your feed dogs. You could scratch that up, and you don't want to mess those up. They get expensive.
Susan, what about the needles that are coated with titanium or
Right.
whatever do those actually last longer, or is it just a marketing thing?
Honestly, you're going to get two schools of thought on that one too. The people that make them are going to tell you they last longer. My mother used to sew even with a bent needle until it broke. Today, I'm going to, well, on my long arm, for instance, I start every morning with a new needle and make sure I've oiled the bobbin and so forth before I start with that. On my domestic machine, I may change needle out twice during a project. Needles are inexpensive, but if you start skipping stitches, change your needle.
Right. Or you can usually hear it.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a sledgehammer going through cement.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you know when you got to burn your needle?
You can feel it. If you've got a burr to the tip of the needle, you can actually rub your finger across it. You can feel it. How will it work? I mean, how will you know when you're stitching? It'll probably shred the thread.
Nancy would like to know, is 90 good for metallic thread?
Yeah, because it has a larger eye. I go to a metallic needle or a top stitch needle personally because I get a smaller hole, but it depends upon the thread I'm working with. You work with a tinsel, did you say, Linda?
I use sliver metallic.
Sliver,
salty.
okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I've worked with braided metallics, what they call filament, that are perfectly flat. I'm going to change out needles until I get the results I want. And I'm a big advocate of test everything before you actually go to your project, whether it's a garment, a quilt, craft project, bag, whatever you're doing. Always test your setup first.
Yeah, now I'll probably, the next question is, Linda, what metallic thread do I use? I use sliver metallic, and I use a 9014 top stitch for piecing and quilting, just because I'm cheap. And I have used that So Easy Gook.
Yeah.
And I
On metallic thread, yeah, metallic thread is really good for that. Yeah.
just that sliver.
Mm-hmm. Even the braided metallics.
When you do the metallics and you're doing free motion,
Mm-hmm.
do you make your stitches just a little bigger so that the metallic has a stitch to reflect?
That's part of the reason you want to do it. Plus, when you got to remember, metallic is metal. It doesn't bend. It's not supple like fibers, regular sewing fibers or cloth fibers are, that regular thread is made from. So it's not going to bend and lay as nicely. So you do want to have longer stitches with metallic thread.
And if you're quilting with you have batik fabric,
Yeah.
and there's a hole, do you it's obviously from the wrong needle or the wrong thread,
Right.
or something.
Well,
What do you do?
a couple things you can do. If you happen to have a colored marker that you can cover that up with a little bit, or I mean, if you actually make a hole that's larger than the needle itself, is that what you're referring to? Because because batiks are so finely woven, there's more, the stitch count or thread count, excuse me, is higher on a batik than it is a standard cotton. A smaller needle is actually going to work better. It's like your jeans needle for your jeans. Everybody says go to a 90. I go to a 70 because I'm looking at putting that needle between the fibers instead of trying to pound a hole through it. So it's try and find out what you like best with it. Like I said, needles are the least expensive part of your machine. What do they cost? What, 75 cents right now? Something like that, a piece, maybe. Get a variety of needles, ask a couple people, take their recommendations, and then try and find out what you like. It's all a matter of what will work with the way you have your fabric and everything set up to do. Usually what I get, in fact, I just had this question. I stopped traveling like in March. But the last show I did, I actually had this question. The woman couldn't figure out why in the world she was getting batting on the top of her quilt. Why was she getting this coming up through the holes? I said, you're probably using too large a needle, because it's as you're pulling pulling the thread up away from that needle, you're opening up that fabric, and the fabric can close back up to a degree. But you can't, when you're using like say 100 needle, size 100 needle, and you're using a 50 weight thread, you only got half the hole that's going to be filled. So it's going to leave room for something.
Since I'm inappropriate anyway,
Who is it? Are you kidding?
what I do is if I end up having holes in my fabric, so I use batiks.
Mhm.
I spray it heavy with water so that it expands.
Yep.
And then when it dries naturally, it kind of fills up that hole.
You can
Itchy.
also you can also use a little downy, little spray downy on it. You won't have to wash it or wait for it to dry. You just it'll dry within minutes. I do that on my quilts when they're part of it is maybe too full for where it's supposed to be. It's not laying perfectly flat like on a panel quilt. And I'll just spray downy in the center and just a little pat and let it dry, and takes up the little extra ease that's in there. And
So you guys got all kinds of different
there's tons
solutions.
of things you can do, sure. And I'm glad you're reading these because the computer's like 3 feet away from me and I can't see anything right now.
Yeah. Michelle would like to know, everybody has their own opinion on the brand of thread.
Mm-hmm.
She uses 100% cotton when sewing with cotton fabric. What brand do you suggest is the best?
Again, I use here's where it becomes, this country's a big country. We have stores everywhere. Unfortunately, I'm not going to any of the stores right now. And because I'm rural Iowa, I don't have a lot of stores and supplies available local to me. So I have to do a lot of shopping online. So I'm restricted as to what I have. What you can just see behind me this way, over here, this starts on the floor and goes to that level. That's all embroidery thread, and it's 3 feet wide, and it's just all drawers of thread. And there are a variety of different threads. My sewing thread isn't quite as extensive because I work with certain colors more rather than having a overall variety like that. But I'll work with say 8 or 10 colors, so my variety isn't quite as bad. But I'll use different brands. Personally, I prefer a polyester thread as opposed to cotton because I don't like the cleanup involved with the cotton. A lot of lint.
Yeah.
But you want to shop local if you can.
Nancy would like to know, ideal needle for piecing is 75 American or European,
European.
and downy is what?
The 11.
Downy, where have you been, Nancy? Downy, when were you? Are you young? Where are you?
I don't have it up here. It's downstairs with my long arm.
Downy, Nancy, the Downy baby.
Yeah, Downy.
You ever seen the Downy baby?
You can get little bitty spray bottles. You can get it in a big bottle. Wait a minute. I might
Downy, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Downy fabric softener, right?
Yeah. I was going to put my daughter in for the Downy baby because she was kind of cute when she was little and then she grew up.
Okay. My laundry room is right around the corner from my studio. Downy.
Downy.
You don't get it this, you get a spray bottle. But it'll just spray a little bit of Downy on there, and it really works well for easing in that fullness in an area as well as closing up the extra holes and so forth you might have. But yeah.
Cool.
But your 75 would be an 11, a 70 would be a 10. And it's just American as opposed to European numbers. No big difference, or international actually, but yeah.
Since we're talking about quilting,
Yeah.
I'm going to interject.
Sure.
I use wrinkle release. If I'm doing a backing fabric and I get that really nasty crease in the middle because it's been on the shelf for forever, I spray it with wrinkle release.
Yeah, it's the same idea, same concept.
I think it might be Downy.
It's similar, probably chemical makeup. I'll have to read the two. I don't know
Yeah.
off the top of my head, but I would assume it does the same thing. So I would just assume it was a competitor.
Yeah. So Susan, we're gonna put her information for her YouTube videos. We're gonna put that on the So What Zoomcast Facebook page, so you can follow her and get all her information after the broadcast is over.
Okay, what can I interject one quick thing for
Yeah.
you? I've written up, and this goes with my YouTube on different types of needles, this pattern, and it's all decorative stitching that anybody can do that has a zigzag machine. All right. And it's using, I think I use like 5 or 6 different needles, and that pattern is free for download on the YouTube.
That. So Shell would like to know, so you prefer using cotton poly like coats? I can't even say it.
Coats and
Coats?
Clark. Coats and Clark.
He'll answer it by the time I could say it.
All right, you're off the liquor. Coats and Clark is a cotton wrapped poly. So you have this is why they did it. They figured it was the best of both worlds. You have the strength of the polyester, and then you have the smoothness of the cotton. Your machines happen to like the cotton better because it goes through the machine nicer. It just glides a little nicer for it. It's softer on the metal parts and so forth. But
Okay. What is your YouTube channel name? I'm going to type that in, and then we're going to put it
Sure.
on these. So what?
yeah, it's Susan Enderson. It's super simple. Getting tongue tied. Susan Enderson.
Lay off that liquor.
This is my first one. I've had 2 sips.
Stop messing with the mules.
Yeah, kick you in the head.
Well, they can if you have too many of them.
Right.
This recipe actually came from a local pub that we used to go to before everything happened, and it's nothing more than a Moscow Mule just made with whipped vodka. It's a little sweeter.
Okay. Let me see. So Susan, I think,
Yes.
does anybody have any more questions for Susan before I move on? Give it to us now.
One more thing, when everybody can get out and we have the wonderful quilt shows and everything available to us again, I usually do Houston, but I do a lot of the others, of course, nationwide as well. Stop in the booth and tell me hi.
Tell her you saw her.
Yeah, remind me where you
I
saw
know
me.
you. I know you. So I don't see Carol on here at all. Thank you, Susan, so much. Do not go
Oh.
away, because we need you for door prizes. Don't go away.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, that's right. I got to turn on full screen, don't I?
Yeah, we're looking for Carol. I don't see her. Stevie, do you see Carol?
Nope, but let me.
Okay. Carol Shaw's on September 2nd. She's going to tell us what is a modern quilt. And the next week, September 9th, I see you, Lori Baker. Hello. Unmute yourself.
It took me a while to find it.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
You're coming on September 9th.
That's right.
Are you excited?
I am. I'm a little bit concerned about talking for an hour because I really have a hard time coming up with things to say. You know how quiet and shy I am.
Don't worry. We're going to ask you all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Did you hear my husband snort in the background?
No. Does he have clothes on?
Oh, yes. But when I said I was quiet and shy, he just sort of snorted.
Is that him? Is he wearing a blue shirt? We see you.
Yes, he's wearing a blue shirt. Oh, there you go.
Hello. So you're going to talk to us about magazines and stuff?
That's right.
All right. Cool. So we will see you in 2 weeks.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you'll get all kinds of questions. We have a nice group here.
Yes, I can tell.
And then who do we got next? There's Patience. Patience!
Oh,
Hello.
there she is.
You're wiggling with that background. We froze you. You're
Hey,
getting so
am I
excited.
okay
We
now?
froze you. Can you get her unfrozen, Stevie?
I will try.
I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Okay.
Oh, now she's had to
Unfroze.
move.
Am I still moving?
Hello.
mouth is
Yeah,
open.
now you're going. You are a Banyan Batik designer,
Yes.
and we share that company. And you're going to talk to us about your novels because you write novels.
Right. I write quilting fiction. My first series is set in Scotland, about quilters in Scotland. Each one has a love
And
story.
all right, are you going to tell us if they wear underwear? She froze.
And then now you guys froze. There we go. I'm back. Oh, it's saying my internet's unstable. How dare it do that? You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Going
good.
really slow.
Okay, I'm going to have to do something about that. That's really weird. Did you ask about what they wear under kilts? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, do they wear underwear under those things?
I have a great story for that. Can I wait and tell you next week about it?
Yep, you're going to have to wait. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to have to come back and be here on, Patience is here September 16th, and she's going to tell us if they wear underwear under those quilts.
Under the quilts. Kilts.
Kilts. Kilts.
You need to lay off the sauce.
We don't want to know what happens
know.
under the quilt.
You guys should be happy. I got half a picture left. So we will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then where's Michelle? Then we got Michelle Crawford. Michelle is going to talk to us about crumb quilting.
That's
Okay.
right.
2 minutes. Tell us, what is it?
Crumb quilting is using the smallest pieces of fabric that you normally throw away or you send to someone else who stuffs animal beds with them for the local shelter. I believe that those tiny pieces, even this big, can be sewn together to create your own fabric. So this is what I've made recently. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating my own yardage. And then from that, I cut it apart and use it in quilts. So when you were Susan, when you were talking about pressing seams open, I press, sometimes, you know, fabric wants to go certain ways.
Yeah.
So sometimes they play nicely and you press, but you want to try to have the fabric as flat as possible because you're cutting it apart and
Right.
you're using it just like normal yardage. But I'm on a mission that there's no scrap left behind. So that's why I like to do crumb quilting. I also use it to teach. I have taught my granddaughters how to sew because they choose the fabric. You have to have a straight edge. Doesn't matter if the fabric is a scrap, as long as it's a straight edge to straight edge, 1/4 inch seam. Fabric's mostly pressed open. You can use all your different leftover threads. So, and then what you have left over, let me show you. So this is what I have left over from my fabric, all the leftover pieces that I then save in brown grocery bags, and I give it to the local shelter for them to stuff their beds with. So I believe in using that fabric, even the ugly ones, because when they're cut, they may be ugly or you liked it. When they're this big, maybe they're not as good. When they're this big, then it just becomes a color and another fabric to use.
And you're
So-
going to talk to us about that on the 23rd.
on the 23rd. I'll show you how to do. We'll do actual sewing and cutting, and I'll show you all my beautiful quilts that I have done. It's my most favorite class to teach, no matter where I teach.
Great.
Cool. So
Thanks.
we also have Krista Moser, and she's a fellow Fox Chapel author, and with myself, Debbie, and Joyce Ruth, and Patience. No, you with Fox Chapel? Yeah. Yeah, with Fox. Okay, not Patience. She's with Banyan. So Krista's going to talk to us about all kinds of batting, which is really cool, because I have a lot of interest in that. We're taking suggestions for October. We already have some really good ones that I wrote down about repairing quilts that have been damaged, perhaps a virtual tour of a quilt museum, and maybe some molas. Please let us know if you have any suggestions so we can search out the right person. So since I'm the host, before we do the door prizes, you get to listen to my little commercial. This is the last week before we do the new newsletter for September. To get both of these books, I think this one is $35, $40 on Amazon plus shipping, and that's $20 or $30 on Amazon plus shipping. Both of them for $40 with shipping included. This will be the last week. Our September classes, we put them up a little early because we had a big demand for Wicked Wahine again. And we've also had requests for a New York Beauty refresher. For those people that didn't finish their quilts from workshop projects or show projects, then I'm just going to do a refresher. It's only like an hour. So it's not a whole class. And it's a nice little refresher. So that means it's time. We're coming to the end. It's time for door prizes. All right, let me pull up the ding dongs, because I know you all get really excited. Beth, I love you.
Oh, thank you. I love my books.
All right, Joyce, I see you. You want to pick for Quilt Woman? Okay, what we're going to do is we put everybody on gallery view. And I pick a winner. Stevie's going to pick a winner, and she'll be for Deb. Joyce Hughes is going to pick for Quilt Woman. Susan, you said you had a pattern or something?
Yes.
Hey, Susan's donating a pattern to Ev. You're going to put that in the chat, or you want their emails?
Send me an email.
Okay, we're going to, I will put her email. It's, what's your email?
SusanEnderson@gmail.com.
I thought so. Okay, I sent her email on the chat, and if you send Susan an email, she will send you back with a free pattern. Thank you so much, and that's for everybody. That's for everybody.
Yep.
And we want to see what you got in your glass. And you girls that were with me in Zumba this morning, I bet you got something in your glass. It might be hurting. Okay. Stevie, would you like to go first?
Okay. Whoops, look, I've lost my gallery view.
And don't forget, when you get picked, put your email in the chat.
Okay, let's see. I don't know who that is. Let me. Luke's iPad.
Spotlighter.
Whoop. There she is.
All right, who is this? Unmute yourself and tell us who you are. You might have to unmute you. Hang on. Luke's iPad. I'm trying to do it here.
Yeah, it doesn't, oh, there she is.
There you are. Okay. Don't touch anything.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. You would remember me from the guild, Marcy Stango.
Yes, I do. How are you?
Good. How are you, Linda?
Good. So, what do you got there? You drinking anything?
Oh, a Coca-Cola,
Is there anything in there?
Coke.
And ice.
Yes, ice in a
All
thermos.
right, what do you think? It's just Coke and ice. Siobhan, you're so nice to everybody. Everybody should be sending Siobhan a door prize or something because she gives everybody a thumbs up. She don't care what you're drinking. She likes everybody.
Okay.
Okay, we're forget about Siobhan. Coca-Cola.
That's it, and ice.
Hey, you still get a door prize. Put
Oh.
Put your email in the chat, please.
Oh, I'm not sure how to do that.
I'll find you.
Okay.
I'll find you.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay. Hi, Joyce.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. How are you? I like your hair.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's getting long.
What
COVID.
do you got? Are you drinking anything today?
I did. I'm almost done.
What was that?
Zinfandel.
For real?
Yeah, it was. So it's
All right. You can get a ding dong for effort.
okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Who are you gonna pick today?
Okay. Connie.
Connie, where are you? I know you were at Zumba.
It was on the first page.
All right, there I am. Thank you, Joyce.
Where is
Appreciate
she?
Thank you. Connie.
it. Right here.
Find her.
Hi, Linda. I'm waving at you.
Oh, there you are. There you are. There you are.
Thank you very much.
Hello. And what do you have in your glass?
Well, you know, it's Arizona, so it's just noon, so it's water. Sorry.
5 o'clock somewhere. I don't know. What do you think, people? Siobhan, don't. Don't. What do you think? All right. Everybody's giving you you got a ding dong. Put your email in the chat.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go to this second side. Now it's my turn. Kathy Farrar. I know Amy's at work. Elizabeth Whitaker. We got to see your cameras. We got to see you because we got to see what you're drinking. Okay. You ready on this second page? Round and round and round and round. Who is this? We got Beth Wilder and Debbie Raymond. I am right on the line. So you're both going to get a door prize. So let's go to Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Hi,
What you got there?
a chai tea latte.
Your liquor in it?
Not this time.
What do you think? Siobhan is just dancing away. You're getting a whole bunch of thumbs up, chai, for a chai tea latte.
And it's homemade, so there you go.
Here you go. You got
For
a
you,
ding
Deb.
dong. You got It wasn't quick on that draw. Okay.
With coconut milk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Beth.
Hello. I am drinking my Tennessee tea. It's sun tea sweetened with bourbon. And it's true.
Bourbon.
With
What kind
bourbon.
of bourbon is that?
It is the local one from our distributor here. What is it, Siobhan? You know the name of that bourbon. Snake something? Hold on, let me run get it. It's real
Yeah,
close.
is your friend Siobhan giving you a thumbs up?
Yes, it's Koenig. Koenig bourbon.
Okay, so you actually approve of that one,
Oh, yeah.
Siobhan. Okay.
It's Seven Devils.
So we'll give you a
I've been
ding
drinking.
dong. Make sure you put your email in the chat so we have it.
I'll do so. And you know what? Debbie is also a personal friend of Siobhan. So you got both of us in one hit.
I know we used to go over to her house and swim in her pool because my daughter and Debbie's daughter and Siobhan's daughter, they didn't hang out because they were in different areas, but the girls used to play together.
That's great.
When we would go over to Siobhan's house over in Homedale off of 520. See, look at all this I remember all these years.
Not this Debbie. Not this Debbie, Beth.
Oh, not this Debbie? Okay, a different Debbie.
I wasn't swimming in the pool.
Debbie, our co-host. Yeah.
Yeah,
We used to
different
go over
Debbie.
to Siobhan's house.
Beth was talking about, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So does anybody have
Thank you.
questions for us? Please put it in the chat now. We hope you had a good time. Don't forget to, if you get a chance, to thank all our guests that are coming on there out of the goodness of their heart to entertain you and talk to you and educate you for an hour. Just because it's something that quilters do. You know, we kind of take care of each other. We gotta take care of each other. All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording, and we hope we see you guys next week at 3 o'clock. Don't forget, you are, if you want to sign up for class, that's on my website in the store under virtual classes. If you'd like to join us for Zumba, it's the same channel, same password. That is at 9:30 Eastern time on Monday morning. And then we do Zumba toning with the weights on Wednesday morning. It's a little different playlist. And we work on your core because people leave wine at my doorstep. I have little gremlins that keep leaving me wine on my doorstep for some reason. And I have to drink it. So I work them a little harder on Wednesday. So, and everybody's welcome. It is free. Everything we do is a community service. Okay. So, Stevie, thank you for co-hosting.
No problem.
Being here. And all right, we love you girls, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.